Revealed. The incredible heartwarming story of a beggar girl who discovered a millionaire daddy. In a gritty urban neighborhood where dreams often fade into the shadows, 10-year-old Emily navigates a world painted in shades of gray. Day after day, she roams the concrete jungle, her light sand hair whipping in the wind as her sneakers pound against the pavement. A single mother, Mia, works tirelessly as a waitress, trying to make ends meet. Yet, Emily's spirit shines like a diamond in the rough. She's no beggar girl. She's a treasure hunter, collecting discarded coins and trinkets, sharing her meager finds with her neighbors, embodying the best of American kindness and resilience. One sunny afternoon, while rummaging through the cluttered alley behind a cafe, Emily's heart races as she stumbles upon an old, crumpled photograph. The edges are frayed, but her breath catches as she recognizes the man in the image. Could this be her father? The one who vanished years ago, leaving behind only whispers of untold stories? Hope ignites within her, bright and blinding. The thought of him rich and powerful, sitting high in his glass tower, feels like a dream she can almost touch. Wrapped in the canvas of her neighborhood, Emily feels the weight of her determination. She can't help but imagine what it would be like to stand in the light of a father who doesn't know she exists. Resolve pulses through her veins as she takes her first step into this daring adventure. Could she really find him? The city blurs around her as she wanders, her heart pounding like a drum. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turn into weeks, but Emily's quest doesn't wane. With each step, she confronts the city's towering skyscrapers. Her small frame becomes a symbol of strength and hope. She's fighting against the currents of neglect and despair. Finally, in a cafe bustling with life and chatter, Emily finds him, her father. Confusion washes over his face, a mirror of disbelief reflecting back at her. To him, she's just another child lost to the streets, a ghost from a past he doesn't remember. "Who are you?" he asks, eyes cold and bewildered. Emily is hit with a tidal wave of emotion. She's standing in front of the man who represents everything she's longed for. Her heart aches with the weight of her truth. She challenges his perception, the chasm between their worlds stark and painful. Her fiery spirit ignites a flicker of connection, but it's buried beneath layers of confusion and societal expectations. As their worlds collide, Emily wrestles with herself. Will she walk away, letting his indifference cut her down? Or will she find the strength to forgive and build a bridge over the past? The answer seems elusive. The weight of their confrontation deepens, echoing the divides that stretch across their lives. In this moment, the very heart of their story beats loud. What truly makes a family? Just when hope begins to flicker, a family member with secrets of their own bursts into their lives, stirring the pot of emotions and leaving their fragile bond hanging by a thread. What happens next? Will they overcome the odds stacked against them, or will the chains of the past drag them apart? The uncertainty swells in the air, leaving the reader on the edge of their seat, ready for the next chapter. Emily's heart raced as her father squinted at her. The disbelief in his eyes felt like a heavy weight, pinning her to the ground. She searched his face for a spark of recognition, something to cling to, but all she found was confusion. "Please, I'm not just anyone," she started, her voice trembling but determined. I think I'm your daughter." The words hung in the air. It felt like a crazy dream, a rush of emotions bubbling inside her. He blinked, the shock shifting into something harder, an unyielding wall. She could almost see the gears turning in his mind, dissecting this moment, dissecting her. "Listen, kid, I don't know what you're talking about," he said, sharp and cold. Emily's heart dropped, but she pushed through the pain. "What if I show you?" she offered, desperate. "I have proof." She fumbled in her pocket, pulling out the worn photograph. The edges were crumbling between her fingers as if it might vanish at any moment. He took the picture, hesitating for just a second. But the look on his face didn't change. The fleeting hope that had ignited when they locked eyes began to dim. This doesn't mean anything to me. I don't even know you, he replied, handing it back like it was just a piece of scrap paper. Emily's breath hitched. Her chest felt heavy. She looked around the cafe, bustling with laughter and chatter, and felt utterly out of place. You left. You disappeared. I've been searching for you, she blurted, frustration bubbling to the surface. Her voice was loud enough to catch a few glances, and she felt vulnerable. His gaze flicked to the small crowd forming around them, their curious eyes pricking at her skin. She couldn't let that happen. Waves of embarrassment crashed over her, but she couldn't back down now. Just give me a chance, she implored. Let me tell you who I am. For a moment, he was silent, and the chaos of the cafe faded into background noise. Was he considering it? Was there a flicker of warmth behind that frosty exterior? Why now? Why should I believe anything you say? His words sliced through her, and instead of anger, she felt a wave of desperation wash over her. Because I need you, she cried, her voice breaking. I don't just want a father. I want to know who you are. I want to know my family. The raw emotion in her voice seemed to draw people's attention. Eyes were on them now, judging, wondering. The knot in her throat pulsed with fear. Just then, a sharp voice pierced through the air. Is everything all right here? A woman in a smart dress stood at their table, her presence formal and imposing. Are you in need of assistance? Emily's heart raced again, not sure if it was fear or embarrassment that this stranger had stepped in. But also, she felt a sudden spark of hope. This girl thinks she knows you. The woman continued, assessing them both. There was a tone to her voice that was both serious and caring. She was, perhaps, a lifeline, a bridge over this uncertain chasm. But her father didn't look moved. Instead, irritation darkened his brow. I think she's mistaken. She's just trying to get something from me. Those words stung like a knife. Emily's heart shattered as she met the eyes of the woman, searching for sympathy, understanding, anything. Wait, the woman said, her expression thoughtful. What's your name, sweetheart? Emily, she replied, barely above a whisper. Emily, the woman repeated, as though weighing the name. Is it true you think you're his daughter? That's what I'm trying to tell him, she whispered, collecting the shreds of her courage. I just want to know him. The woman paused, and Emily's father shifted uncomfortably in his seat as if he wanted to vanish. All right, Emily, the woman said, digging deeper into the tension that surrounded them. Let us hear what you have to say. The door to her shattered world creaked open just a little, and as she spoke, Emily felt the weight of possibility hovering in the air. Would this woman help her? Would she be the one to convince her father? But as the shadows shifted, a noise from the entrance drew all eyes, and it was someone Emily never expected to see, someone that could change everything again. Uncle Henry, she gasped, the faint hope flickering anew. But was it too late? Would he be a protector or a barrier? The questions tangled in her mind as uncertainty brewed once more. Emily's heart raced at the sight of her uncle. Uncle Henry, with his slightly graying hair and warm smile, looked just the same as she remembered from those long-forgotten family gatherings. But now, the familiarity felt like a distant dream, a fleeting memory buried under layers of hurt and abandonment. Emily? He stepped forward, scanning her face with a deep furrow of concern. What are you doing here? In her father's eyes, she noticed a shift. The coldness began to crack, revealing just a hint of confusion. It was fleeting, gone as quickly as it appeared. Uncle Henry, please, Emily pleaded, inviting him into the moment. I found Dad. He's not interested in knowing me, but I need him to understand. Henry, always the gentle peacemaker, cast a sideways glance at her father, whose face remained hard and unyielding. We should talk, he said softly, his voice steady and grounding. But her father shook his head. I don't want anything to do with this. I don't know either of you. His challenge hung heavily in the air. Please, Emily burst out, her emotions surging. I'm not asking to change your life. I just want to understand who I am. I just want to try. Henry's face became somber, his eyes darting between them. Look, this is hard for everyone. But Emily is right. There is something here worth discussing. His tone softened, but his eyes remained cautiously hopeful. The crowd around them seemed to hold its breath, leaning in at the promise of drama unfolding. Emily felt the whispers swirl around her like a storm, but all she cared about was holding on to this moment, however fragile. Uncle Henry could be the key. Can't you see she's telling the truth? Henry continued, the intensity in his voice growing. This isn't just some random girl making claims. You need to listen. Her father's facade cracked just a bit. His brows knitted together like he was running a calculation in his head. What do you want me to say? That I owe you something? He snapped, trying to regain control. Emily flinched at the bite in his voice, but she pressed on. I don't want anything from you, Dad. Just an explanation. Just the chance to understand why you left. How could you just walk away? His eyes narrowed, and the clatter of plates and the hum of chatter faded into the background. The world turned small, just the three of them caught in a moment of truth that felt poised to shatter. Tentatively, Henry took a step closer to his brother. It's been a long time, Joe, but she's not the child you remember. She deserves a chance. At the sound of his brother's name, a crack of hesitation flashed across Joe's face. For the first time, she thought he might say anything. The emotions stirring in the air were palpable, charged with unresolved history. Why now, Emily? He asked softly, as if wanting to understand, yearning for something buried. Because I've spent my life feeling like half of me is missing. I can't fill in the gaps without you. Her voice trembled with raw honesty. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she realized how much these words mattered. But just as she thought she could break through the wall between them, something shifted in her father's expression. A mixture of pain and anger. Suddenly, a commotion erupted behind Uncle Henry. A tall figure brushed past the doorway, causing a ripple through the gathered crowd. Emily's heart sank as she recognized a familiar silhouette. Mom? She whispered, feeling a rush of hope and dread wash over her. This was it. What would she say? Would this bring clarity or devastation? The stakes were rising, emotions surged like waves, and the tension hung thick in the air. Emily's heart raced with anticipation as she faced the whirlwind of emotions swirling around her, each moment teetering between hope and despair. As the figure stepped into the light, the question echoed through the cafe. Would this reunion finally unlock the answers she desperately sought? The figure emerged fully into the light, and Emily's breath hitched in her throat. Her mother's face seemed to age a decade in a heartbeat, but those familiar green eyes held a flicker of recognition underneath the layers of emotion. Emily? Her mother breathed, taking a hesitant step forward. The surrounding crowd whispered softly, their eyes darting between the three of them. Mom, Emily started, her voice wavering like a candle flame in the wind. She wanted to leap across the distance, to throw her arms around her mother, but a whirlwind of uncertainty held her back. Why are you here? Her mother's tone was sharp, focused. What do you want? I want answers, Emily admitted, her heart racing again. I want to understand everything. Silence enveloped them like a thick fog. Emily watched the conflict dance across her mother's face, a mixture of regret and anger, memories rushing back uninvited. It was as if the years they spent apart were crashing down around them. Henry's presence remained steady, a calming anchor amidst the emotional upheaval. He glanced at Joe, who stood frozen, stuck in his own turmoil, and then back at Emily. This is your chance, Em. Don't hold back now. Can't you see? Emily pressed on. We need to know why things ended up this way. I need to understand why you both left. Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken history. With a deep breath, her mother stepped closer. It's not that simple, sweetheart. Her voice trembled as if the mere mention of the past threatened to shatter her. Some things are better left unsaid. Better for who? Emily shot back, her voice breaking with frustration. You both get to live your lives while I've spent mine wondering what's wrong with me. In that moment, Joe's barriers began to lower, his earlier hostility flickering like a candle with a heavy gust. What do you want from us? You storm in after all these years, and expect answers like it's a right? I want to know who I am, Emily cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. I want to feel whole. Don't you understand? I can't keep living in the shadows of decisions I never made. Her mother inhaled sharply, the weight of Emily's declaration hitting her squarely in the chest. She hesitated, glancing between her daughter and Joe. For the first time, doubt seeped into her hard exterior. I didn't want to leave you, her voice broke, cracking under the pressure of years. I thought it'd be better for you better. Emily interrupted, feeling raw and vulnerable. You thought leaving was better? Look where it got us. The cafe buzzed with anticipation. Tension crackled as if everyone could feel the truth about to surface. Joe finally spoke, his voice low and tremulous. We all made choices, foolish ones. With that, for the first time, Emily saw an opening, the possibility of connection. Can we talk about those choices? Can we try to understand? Maybe, Henry chimed in, his voice calm yet firm. Maybe we can piece this together, but it has to come from both of you. Emily's heart thundered with hope. This could be the moment she'd always dreamed of. She scanned her mother's face, looking for that spark of recognition. Anticipation mingled with fear rising in her throat. Could we be a family again? She whispered, as if uttering those words might break some ancient spell that held them apart. Her mother's eyes shimmered, emotions swirling like a tempest. I want to try, she said softly, barely above a whisper. But just as the first rays of possibility shone through the darkness, footsteps echoed heavily from the cafe entrance. A figure stood at the door, silhouetted against the bright light, looming against the promise of change. Emily's heart sank once more as confusion clouded the moment of breakthrough. Mom? She breathed again, casting another glance at this new arrival. The unease rose like a tidal wave. What more could the stranger bring into a fragile moment of hope? The figure stepped into the cafe, shaking raindrops from a long, dark coat. As the light flooded in, Emily's heart raced, a surge of uncertainty slithering through her. The newcomer looked disheveled, but there was an intensity to their presence that sent the crowd into a murmur. Who are you? Her mother asked, a hint of irritation in her voice, trying to push past the newcomer to focus back on Emily. I just need to talk, the figure said, their voice shaky and uncertain. Pulling off a woolen hat, a cascade of unkempt hair fell into their eyes, but the face remained obscured. Emily swallowed hard. The warmth of the potential reunion with her mother seemed to dissipate, replaced with a chill that gnawed at her insides. Mom, can we finish this? Emily whispered, desperate. You were about to say you want to try. Her mother looked conflicted, emotions swirling like leaves in a storm. Yes, but the stranger took a step forward, and the weight of the moment felt unbearable. Emily, wait. Their eyes darted around, searching. I didn't think I'd find you here. Excuse me? Emily's voice came out sharper than she intended, air crackling with tension. Do I know you? An uneasy silence enveloped the cafe again, people unsure whether to listen or to give the family privacy. The stranger took a shaky breath, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. I'm your brother, they said, the words tumbling out like fragile glass. I'm James. Your mother. She never told you about me. Emily's heart plummeted. This was not what she had envisioned. A brother? Another twist in the narrative she had already struggled to unravel. Her mother's eyes widened in shock, and for a moment, it felt as if time itself held its breath. James? That can't be possible, her mother said, disbelief lacing her words. I thought you could leave him behind too? Emily interrupted, eyes blazing. What else didn't you tell me? The stranger looked hurt, caught in the crossfire of emotions, while Emily's world tilted on its axis. A brother she had never known, linked to her by blood, and yet surrounded by a fog of secrets. I didn't choose to be kept a secret, James spoke, voice trembling but steady. I was taken in by a friend after all of you left. I was too young to remember those last moments. I grew up without understanding. This is insane, Joe muttered, crossing his arms, uncertainty etching his features. What's happening here? We have to find out, Henry urged, stepping forward with a protection that felt both calming and assertive. Emily, you have to hear him out. There might be answers in this. An inner turmoil clenched Emily's heart as she tried to make sense of everything. This was the opposite of what she had hoped for. The longing for connection now edged into confusion and betrayal. Why are you here now? She finally asked, her voice shaking. After all these years? I didn't know how to find you, James replied, softening. But I heard stories. I needed to seek you out. To have answers too. The air felt heavy with unresolved questions, lingering truths that needed to spill forth. Emily's heart raced in her chest, an urge to understand pulling her in a different direction. The moment of connection promised by her mother now felt like a fragile thread, with secrets threatening to unravel it. Why didn't Mom ever say anything? Emily's gaze remained locked on her mother, searching for a response that didn't come. Just then, the cafe doors swung open again, a gust of wind causing a few scattered napkins to rustle. Her mother looked conflicted, a shadow of fear crossing her face, as another figure stepped in, a familiar silhouette that froze her in place. Not him, her mother murmured, eyes widening in panic. Not now. Emily looked back at James, her mind racing. Who else is here? With two secrets unfolding simultaneously, the depth of their history threatened to swallow them whole. Would they finally understand the past? Or would more layers of deception and fear keep them in the dark? Emily's heart pounded as she peered toward the cafe entrance. The shadowy silhouette moved closer, and her breath caught in her throat. Familiarity washed over her like a tidal wave. Couldn't be. Max? She whispered, disbelief making her voice tremble. The boy from school, the one she had whispered her secrets to, the one who had promised her the world. In this moment, he seemed just as out of place as the secrets swirling around her. Emily, he said, taking a step forward, urgency etched into his features. I was looking for you. A tight knot formed in her stomach. How had Max found her here, at the very center of this whirlwind? Mom, what is happening? She pressed, her voice cracking under the weight of confusion. Her mother's eyes darted between James, the brother she had never known, and Max, the boy she thought she had left behind with her childhood. Each second felt heavier, as if the very air around them was thickening with unanswered questions. Before anyone could respond, James, still standing close, clenched his jaw. You know each other? His voice was low but edged with something resembling jealousy. It's not what you think, Emily quickly said, a rush of guilt flooding her. He was just a friend. Max stepped closer, determination shining in his blue eyes. I didn't know what else to do. I've heard rumors about your family and about you being back in town. I needed to come see you. Rumors? Emily echoed, flinging anger into each word. Rumors about what? That I don't even know who I really am anymore? The tension swelled like an impending storm as her mother finally spoke, her voice measured but trembling. Everyone you knew was safe, Emily. That's why I kept certain things from you. I thought it was better this way. Emily felt her heart splinter, a crack forming in her chest. You thought keeping me in the dark was better? What did you think you were protecting me from? The cafe felt smaller now, the eyes of the patrons becoming heavy in their own silence, filled with anticipation as they watched the turmoil unfold. Now isn't the time for this, James interjected, glancing back at her mother, his voice barely above a whisper. We need to figure out what this means. What's really going on? As if on cue, her mother's phone buzzed on the table, breaking through the charged atmosphere. Emily watched her mother's face pale, phone shaking slightly in her grip. She glanced at the message, her eyes wide, and then back up. It's him. Who? James pushed gently, but the tension was thick. Who do you mean? Your father, her mother whispered, each word falling like a stone on Emily's heart. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. The history they had all avoided crashing down like a dam bursting open. The layers of time and secrets began pouring forth like a torrential river. What does that even mean? Emily croaked, disbelief lining her question. She could hardly process it all, the brother she never knew, Max's sudden appearance, and now the looming shadow of a father. Would the revelations ever cease? A loud crash echoed from the counter, causing everyone to jump. A barista had dropped a tray of cups, the sound sharp and jarring. A small gasp escaped her mother's lips, eyes darting away from the phone for just a moment. "I need to explain," she finally said, desperation seeping through her voice. Yet even then, another layer remained, one that Emily couldn't quite grasp. In that moment, the cafe felt alive around them. Their history was no longer just shadows or whispers. It demanded to be confronted. "Who are you really, Mom?" Emily asked, desperation twisting in her chest. "And why has everything become so complicated?" Just as she finished, the bell above the cafe door jingled again, and a figure stepped in, a sharp silhouette familiar to her mother but a stranger to everyone else. And just like that, the chaos deepened. The figure stepped inside, the light from the cafe spilling over them like a spotlight. Emily's heart raced as she tried to make out the face. Was it truly who she thought? Instinctively, she took a half-step back, but the sudden lurch felt as if it pulled everyone's gaze toward her mother. "Mom?" she whispered, confusion sharpening with every pulse of her racing heart. Her mother's complexion turned ghostly, hands trembling over the table as she pressed the phone tightly against her chest. The cafe had frozen. Words hung, desperately unspoken, as all eyes shifted to the newcomer. "Lena." The voice was deep, almost gravelly, but held an undertone of warmth that felt oddly familiar. Emily strained against the flood of thoughts swirling in her mind. It was a name spoken in hushed tones, a name filled with mystery and a lifetime of untold stories. "Paul. What are you doing here?" Emily's mother finally breathed, but her voice was barely audible over the quiet hum of disbelief that filled the air. "Had to come see you," he replied, each word chosen with practiced care. "It's about the kids. We need to talk." "Kids?" Familiar whispers echoed in Emily's head. It was as if the world shifted around her, turning her childhood stories into awkward shards of glass. Max stood rooted beside her, eyes darting between her mother and this man, his confusion palpable. "What's going on?" he pressed, frustration creeping into his voice. Emily felt her breath hitch again. She wished she could take one step back into blissful ignorance, but the reality pressed heavily like a weight at her chest. "You have to understand," her mother said, voice catching. "I didn't want either of you to know." "Didn't want us to know what?" James interjected, the tension in his voice rising with every syllable. "What are we missing?" The atmosphere crackled with tension. Emily could feel the cafe patrons looking on, some whispering to each other, others openly gaping as if they were observers to a reality show, and she was the star, trapped in her own chaotic episode. "It's about why I moved us away all those years ago. Why I kept you both in the dark." Her mother's voice trembled as she spoke, tears threatening to spill over. "Your father, Paul is your father, James. And Emily, you're his daughter too." The room fell silent, a breath barely audible in the pause that followed. Emily could feel her entire world tilt on its axis. She stared at her mother, disbelief rippling through her, and then at Paul, searching his face for any hints of familiarity. How could he be a part of her story when he had always felt like a ghost? "Does he even know about me?" Emily finally found her voice. It felt small and fragile yet echoed with steely resolve. "Not yet," Paul answered, his tone softening. "But he needs to. It's all part of who you are." Emily swallowed hard, piecing together her scattered emotions. Questions swirled around her mind, battling for dominance. Her life had just shifted on the foundation she thought she understood. And suddenly, her childhood memories clouded, semi-distant, felt like fleeting echoes of a life she hadn't truly lived. "Why now?" she asked, so many feelings trapped behind the barrier of her voice. Why did you keep us from him? Her mother flinched as if struck. I wanted to shield you from his past. You deserve a normal life. I did a terrible job protecting you. Normal? Emily shot back, an edge of desperation cracking her voice. What's normal about this? Her heart raced, emotions clashing. She didn't recognize her life or history was a puzzle with missing pieces. And right now, everything felt like it was about to unravel. Just then, something in Paul's expression changed. It was subtle, but there was a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Emily, he said slowly, as if putting together an intricate puzzle, I know your mother's made mistakes, but we can fix this. This time we all came together. But Emily felt the tight knot of anxiety deepen. The shadows of her hidden past pressed in on her. And what if I don't want to? All heads turned towards her. Tension, hanging like a tight-knit web, revealing the underlying truths that lingered just below the surface. And as her heart pounded, an unsettling thought struck her. What if the reality they were all stepping into was much darker than any of them had ever imagined? Would bringing the past to light bring healing, or a new, deeper wound? The bell over the door swung again, and another figure appeared, catching Emily's eye, and the gasp from the patrons shook her to the core. What now? She murmured, fear creeping into her thoughts as dread knotted in her stomach. Emily's eyes widened as the new figure stepped forward, each movement seeming to slice through the tension in the room. Her heart raced, adrenaline rushing through her system like a live wire. The figure was a woman, strikingly beautiful, with long dark hair cascading over her shoulders. As the woman approached, Emily's mind raced. She could almost feel the weight of the attention from every corner of the cafe bearing down on her. Is this some kind of joke? Max whispered, breaking the silence that gripped them all. He shot Emily a glance that spoke volumes. Confusion, concern, disbelief. The newcomer stopped before Emily, her sharp green eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. Emily, she said, a mix of urgency and compassion in her tone, we have to talk. I'm here for you to help. Emily's brows furrowed, suspicion rising in a wave. Help? How do you know my name? Because I'm your aunt, the woman stated plainly, as if that were enough. The word hung in the air, sending ripples of shock through Emily's entire being. Aunt? She had never heard of an aunt. The revelation felt surreal, like a piece of a hidden world she never knew existed. What? James exclaimed, eyes darting between them. The cafe patrons showed a mix of intrigue and concern, some reaching for their phones to capture what felt like a spectacle. Your mother was my sister. I've been looking for you, the woman continued, her voice softening. My name is Sarah. There's so much I need to explain, and it all ties back to Paul. What else is there to say? You're saying he's our father, and now you're saying you're my aunt? This is insane. Emily's voice rose, a cocktail of anger and disorientation threatening to spill out. Her world had spiraled out of control in a matter of seconds, and while her heart ached for clarity, she found only confusion. Paul took a step closer, his expression unreadable but tense. We can sort this out, I promise. Sarah is right. Your life is more complicated than you've been told. Emily felt her breath quicken and clenched her fists tightly on the table, nails biting into her palms. She was sideswiped by emotions, pushing to the forefront things she never thought would touch her life: anger over being kept in the dark, the warmth of hope bubbling just beneath the surface, and an uncomfortable curiosity creeping in. But why didn't you come sooner? Emily directed at Sarah, a flicker of something softening in her eyes. Why all this now? Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, and suddenly she looked vulnerable. Because I was scared. Your mother kept us apart, thinking she was protecting you. But I have fought for years for this moment. You have family who cares about you. Do I? Emily shot back, her heart aching. You expect me to believe that? Yes, Sarah replied, her voice trembling but steady. The cafe buzzed softly as patrons leaned in, hanging on every word. I lost track of you. I thought I wouldn't find you, but I had to try. We all deserve to know each other. James shifted uncomfortably beside her, trying to make sense of it all. Max's expression mirrored his, though a flicker of empathy began to break through the confusion. But Emily wasn't ready. The weight of this information felt suffocating, and as she looked at Paul, then at her mother, it hit her the shadows of their past would not simply dissolve. This was only the beginning. The bell above the cafe door rang once more, and Emily's heart sank. What if this was just the start of something darker? The unsettling feeling in her gut surged. The pieces of her life were colliding, and she feared what they would reveal. "Wait," she said, panic clawing at her throat. "What else are we missing? It can't be just this," and there it was again. That chill that ran through her blood, something darker was lingering just out of reach. What truth was waiting for her on the other side of this revelation? Emily's heart hammered in her chest as the weight of Sarah's revelation crashed over her like icy waves. The chatter of the cafe faded into an echo, the world constricting down to just Sarah's piercing green eyes and the urgency behind her words. "What are you talking about?" Emily's voice quivered, a mixture of disbelief and desperation. Her grip on the table tightened, desperate for something solid in the chaos. "What does Paul have to do with any of this?" "Everything," Sarah replied, a tear escaping down her cheek. "Your father, he has been hiding from a past he can't escape. It's dangerous, Emily. There are people involved who won't just stand by and let this go." Emily felt a rush of confusion mixed with fear. Her breath became shallow. Dangerous? What could be so perilous about her own father? It was all too much to process, and with every tick of the cafe clock, she felt her world tilt even further off its axis. Beside her, James leaned in, his brow furrowed in concern. "Emily, maybe we should get out of here. This isn't a safe place to discuss whatever this is." His voice was a mix of caution and protectiveness. "No." Emily shook her head fiercely, desperation sharpening her focus. "I need answers. If I'm supposed to trust you, Sarah, I need to know why you think this is the time to tell me. Why now?" Sarah swallowed hard, her voice cracking under the pressure of all she had yet to share. "Because your life is about to change dramatically. Paul has been in hiding for a reason, and now that you're involved, it's time for you to understand the truth about your family and your history." Courses of dread flowed through Emily's veins. She stole a glance at Paul, who was now silent, his expression unreadable. "Is it all true?" she asked, the accusation lacing her words. "Have you been lying to me?" Slowly, he shook his head, anguish reflected in his eyes. "I thought I was protecting you. This isn't an easy thing to discuss, Emily. The less you knew, the safer you would be. But look where that got me." Emily's voice shattered into a higher pitch filled with indignation. "I've been kept in the dark my entire life. You think by keeping secrets I was safe, but I feel anything but secured." The atmosphere thickened around them. Her friends exchanged nervous glances, clearly overwhelmed. Just then, Max interrupted. "We care about you, Em. All of us do. Whatever this is, we'll figure it out together." "Figuring it out doesn't change the fact that I feel lost right now," she snapped, frustration morphing into a deep communal ache. She wasn't just confused. She felt betrayed and alone amidst friends who were supposed to stand by her. "Maybe we should leave," James urged gently. "We can find a quieter place." "No," Emily shouted, shaking her head vehemently. "I want to know everything right here, right now." Sarah stepped closer, her voice almost a whisper. "Emily, the truth is heavy, and I don't want to put you in danger, but I've waited too long. There are threats surrounding your father, threats that reach far beyond him." "What do you mean?" Emily's heart raced faster, the thought of danger flickering like a candle in her mind. "What kind of threats?" "They want him back," Sarah said firmly, black shadows tracing her features. "They won't stop until they get what they want, and that includes you." Emily's heart plummeted. The notion that her life could be at risk, that somehow this tangled web of family ties could invite danger right to her door, sent a shudder through her. Just then, a figure moved in the corner of the cafe like a specter, grabbing her attention. Something ominous flickered in the background at the edge of her vision. Who was watching them? "Emily," Sarah pleaded, bringing her focus back. "You need to trust me. We can help you navigate this, but you have to make a choice right now. Are you willing to learn the real truth and to fight for your safety and your family? As the question hung heavy in the air, Emily felt the weight of her life shifting beneath her feet. The stakes had never been higher. But could she handle what came next? Are you with me? Sarah's eyes implored her. With uncertainty weighing on her, the question spiraled in the depths of her mind. Could she step into the unknown and confront what awaited her? Emily's heart raced as the enormity of Sarah's words washed over her. Time stood still in the cafe, and the stunned silence felt like a tight grip around her chest. Every gaze was on her, waiting, yearning for a decision that felt impossibly heavy. Are you with me? Sarah's voice pierced through the haze, infused with a sense of urgency that seemed to anchor Emily. She looked from her mother, eyes brimming with regret, to James, who had worry etched on his face. Even Max, the boy she'd known only as a fleeting part of her childhood, seemed caught in the gravity of her moment. I don't know, Emily stammered, the weight of her past colliding with the revelation of her present. Each heartbeat echoed doubt and fear louder than hope. Could she truly unravel the secrets of her family? Don't you see? James said, his voice rising just above the hum of conversation in the cafe. This is your chance to reclaim your story. You've spent your life in the dark, but the light is right here, waiting. His words sparked a flicker of something within her. A part of Emily yearned for clarity, for understanding beyond the whispers and shadows. Think about what you want, Max said calmly, his blue eyes steady and warm, grounded against the chaotic tempest swirling around them. You deserve a family you can trust. And whatever is out there, we can face it together. Together. The word echoed in her mind, a lifeline that tugged at her heart. Maybe it was possible, maybe she did want to fight for the answers that had eluded her for far too long. Taking a deep breath, she looked directly at Sarah. What do we need to do? The tension shifted in the air, her family hovering around her like leaves caught in a gentle breeze, waiting for the storm to pass. We need to find a place where we can talk safely, Sarah said, her eyes narrowing as if she were scanning the cafe for unseen eyes. There are people who don't want this to come to light. We have to be cautious. Then let us move, Emily declared, the fire of determination igniting within her. If my life is in danger, I'd rather fight than run away. Max grinned, a glimmer of admiration in his eyes. That's the spirit, he said, wrapping an arm around her shoulders in solidarity. The cafe's atmosphere shifted, vibrant again as a small group of strangers shuffled to give space. Emily felt the weight of their concern as they moved into action, ready to step into the unknown but not alone. With Sarah leading the way, James and Max flanking her, Emily took cautious yet resolute steps toward the door. Her mother followed closely, her presence a blend of support and fear intertwining. As they exited the cafe, the sunlight bathed them in warmth. A world that felt so heavy moments ago now offered a thread of hope. They made their way down the sidewalk, a determined convoy pushing through uncertainty. Where do we go? What's our next step? Emily asked, her sense of urgency bubbling to the surface. There's a place, an old family cabin of sorts, Sarah explained, glancing over her shoulder as they walked, cautious of those who may follow. It's secluded and safe. We can talk there. Although Emily's heart raced with this newfound urgency, adrenaline coursing through her veins, she felt a certain resolve. Each step felt like shedding the weight of the past, moving toward a brighter future. Emily! Suddenly, a voice calling from behind stopped her in her tracks. Turning, she saw Paul, his face pale with worry and desperation. Stay away from her. James stepped in front, protective. No, wait, Emily said quickly, her heart thudding loudly. Dad, I don't know what is happening. I just need to understand. Paul held her gaze, tears glistening as he took a tentative step forward. You're in danger because of me. I never wanted this life for you, but Emily stood firm, her heart pounding not just with fear, but with the surge of raw emotion. I want to learn the truth. You have to tell me everything. This is my life. Then let me explain, Paul said, anguish marring his features. I will make sure you're safe. I swear it. She felt the weight of his promise, but also the shadows of his past. Would he protect her? Or was this just another layer of the tangled web they all found themselves in? Fine. We'll go to the cabin. But we talk everything through, no more secrets, Emily declared, embodying the strength she never knew she had. Together, they started moving again. Hands reached for hands, the others falling into place beside her. This was it. This was the path to healing, stepping beyond the pain of the past and facing whatever danger lay ahead. As they approached the cabin, Emily felt a rush of emotions. Hope mingled with fear, but with her family by her side, she was ready to uncover the truth that had haunted her all this time. A new chapter awaited them, and Emily stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever it may hold. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support, because this is the moment you need to do it. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through your actions.